All right. Good evening, Leandro. How are you? Is everything all right?
Yeah, it's all right. Sorry for these 12 minutes. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
no,
I'm really sorry.
don't worry. It's okay. It's okay, Leandro. It's great. We talked about it, right? So you can be late. Also, I spent more time with the previous course, so I got also a little bit late over here. So you know that for the first 5 or 10 minutes, it's okay. If I'm going to be here first, I'm going to try to give a short introduction, or I'm going to talk about something that is not that important. And again, if you are late, you told me that it's going to be for certain reasons, so I think it's good. All right. So let's begin, please. There, we're going to continue working with this unit. Remember, we're with Unit 1. This is a new course. Remember, you have until tomorrow to complete the assignments and to take the first quiz. And today we have to finish the last two lessons that we got. All right. So let's begin directly with this. It says models of permission. So what comes to your mind when you read this, Leandro? Well, what are we going to talk about when we say models of permission?
Models of permission, I think, is for ask something, but for ask for actions, for ask if I can make a thing, or if another person made other things, I think.
Okay, good. Yes, exactly, right? Permission, as it says, very similar to Spanish. This one, to ask for permission, right? To ask questions to see if it's possible to do something on our behalf, right? Or the other person is going to let us do something. Okay, so this is very short because models of permission, sorry, are very specific. So let's talk about this. I'm going to read the situation and you have to tell me what do you ask in these situations then. So you want to go to the bathroom when you are in class. So what do you ask to the teacher or to the professor?
Mm, can I go to the bathroom? Cool.
Okay, then. Good. Yes, tell me what other options do you have?
Um, cool. I don't remember. Well, I have a lapsus.
Okay,
uh,
don't worry.
okay. Cool. Um, no, yes. Can I go to the bathroom?
Okay, good. That's one. So it means that you want to use can and you also want to use could. All right, good. Let's
Mhm.
remember that. What about number two? You need to use a pencil and you don't have one, but there's a person who has it, okay, who has a pencil. So what do you ask in that situation?
Mm, do you have a pencil? Extra pencil for me?
Okay, good. That's correct, right? So that's the first question. And now imagine that the person says, yes, I do. Now, how can you ask that person for that pencil?
Um, yes, I do.
Exactly, right? So
Yes,
the
I have.
person the person says that, right? Yes, I do. It's going to
Mhm.
say, yes, I do, right? Yes, I have a pencil. Now, what do you ask to that person? What do you ask him or her so that you have the pencil now for you, right?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Yes. So you don't have a pencil, right?
Uh-huh.
You see that another person has a pencil, and that person
Mm-hmm.
has an extra pencil, right? But now you still
Okay.
need a pencil. So how do you ask for permission to use that pencil?
Can I take your pencil?
Okay, we're going to remember that. Okay, so you're using the verb take.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to verify. And the last one, you are very tired and you want to sit down for a while, but the only place to sit down is a part of one group's table, right? So one group is using that table and there's one free seat. So once again, right, how do you ask for permission to use that?
Okay. The first is the um this seat. It's available.
Okay. And if they say
Mm-hmm.
yes, what can you say to to have that seat.
Can I sit there? This
Okay.
here?
Okay, good. Very good. So I think in general we're very good. All right. We're just going to change some words and we're going to see what model is better for permission. Okay, but in general we're good. Let me see if I have that one. Okay, I don't have it here, but here you have the three words. Can, informal, could, more formal. May is the best option, right? May is the best option for permission. Now, we don't have that, but I'm going to tell you here. So the first one is great, right? So the only thing you can do to make it better is to change that for may I go to the bathroom, right? So may I go to the bathroom? It's always the best option. Now, in number two, we have to change also the verb. If you say take, is not that bad, but it sounds a little bit like you are taking that from that person, right? And not in a good way. So there are
Can I
two verbs.
use?
Use is also good. Use is a great option. And one better option for this is the word, you have two words, borrow and lend. I don't know if you know those two words, Leandro, borrow and lend.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you think the meaning of those words are? I'm writing those in the chat. Okay, lend and borrow. So what do you think is the meaning, or how can you explain the word lend and the word borrow?
Uh, I I don't know. I don't know the meaning of those words.
Okay, good. So look, it's interesting. Lend something is to give something temporarily. Okay, so if I lend you, okay, I lent you my cell phone, it means that I'm giving you my cell phone just for a
Mm,
period of time, and then you have to return it, right? That's to lend, but you lend something. And to borrow is when you use that verb, right? When you take an object from another person because that person gave you permission to do it, but it's also just for a period of time. Okay, so you lend when you give something, and you borrow when you take something from someone. All right. So one more time, if you know now those verbs, how can you
mhm.
ask for that pencil? What question can you ask?
Um, can you lend me this pencil? Your extra pencil?
Very well. Can you lend me your extra pencil? And if you want to use borrow, how would the question be?
And borrow. If I um give the pencil, um, um, can use the pencil? I will borrow to you. Borrow
Close.
it.
Remember, borrow actually is used in an active way. So it's very simple. The two ways to use lend and borrow. The first one you did it great, right? It's may I borrow, sorry, may you lend me, right? Or can you lend me your extra pencil or your pencil? That's correct, right? But if you want to use borrow, you only change the subject and you're going to say, can I borrow your pencil? All right, because if you
Uh,
want to translate that, is like tomar prestado. All right, can I borrow your pencil means puedo tomar prestado tu lápiz. Okay, so
mhm.
that's it. That's it. So you say, can you lend me? Correct. Or can I borrow?
Okay.
Correct. Okay, good. That's
Mhm.
great. And the last one also, you got it. The last one is correct, right? You can say, may I use this seat? Or may I
Mhm.
sit down right next to you? So those are valid, right, possibilities. So there you go. And now, once again, let's go back here. Very simple. You can use can, could, and may. That's it. Remember that to use these models, you always use the base verb, right? Can I go? Can I use? Can I lend? Can I go? And so on and so forth. But let's use, or sorry, let's read the usage, please, Dan.
Okay, usage. We use models of permission to ask someone if we can, could, may perform an action. For example, if you want to go to the bathroom in a class, if you want to borrow something from a person, if you want to do something that affects one person, etc.
So there you go, right? You have a lot of situations in which you can ask for permission. These are common examples. So let's read these examples, please.
Examples. May I go to the bathroom? Could I borrow your pencil? Can I sit for a moment? May I park here for 5 minutes?
Very good. And this is may, right? Correct, may. There you go, right? May I go to the bathroom? Could I borrow? Can I sit? May I park? All of these are correct questions for permission. But remember, the most formal is may, then follows. It's followed by could, and the least formal, right? In this case, the least formal is can. But it's still correct, right? It's not incorrect, but it's less formal than the other. And you know that to ask politely, the only thing you are going to do is to add the word please, right? It can be in the middle of the verb and the verb, sorry, the verb and the subject, or at the end of the question. Okay, very simple. And that's the only change. I'm going to read this for you. It says, may I please go to the bathroom? Could I borrow your pencil, please? Can I please sit down for a moment? May I park for here for 5 minutes, please? Right? So the word please can again be between the subject and the verb or at the end of your question. And the way you answer is like this. So let's read these two answers, please, Leandro, affirmative and negative.
Okay, affirmative. Of course, sure, go ahead. Yes, you can. Yes, you may. Negative. Sorry, you can't. I'm sorry. It's not possible. It's not possible to do that.
All right, there you go, right? So very simple. If it's affirmative, you only just give that permission with of course, sure, go ahead, yes, right? Very simple. But remember that if you give a negative, it's always a good idea to give a short explanation, right? You can say, no, sorry, it's too late. Or no, right? It's not possible to do it here because it's forbidden, right? Or because of the rules or something like that, right? So it's always a good idea to give a short explanation. Now, before going to that extract that's going to be just speaking, we're going to work with some writing for these permissions. All right, you know that we have our document. So we're still in Unit 1, so you can write it there as part of Unit 1 once again. And we're just going to use, actually, sorry, we're going to write some questions to ask for permission. So as you have these three, may, could, and can, it's going to be very simple. You give me just three questions asking for permission, but it's going to be the question plus the answer. Okay, so at least one of them is going to be negative. So it has to be a negative answer plus a short explanation. Okay, so one more time. Three questions, one with may, one with could, one with can. The three of them need to have an answer, and at least one answer is going to be negative with the explanation for why you are not giving permission. So if you have questions, please let me know, Leandro. And we're going to have 3 minutes and 30 seconds to 4 minutes to do it. If you finish before, let me know. All right,
Okay,
let's do it.
it's three questions and one answer.
No, three questions and three
Three
answers,
answers.
but
Okay.
one answer has to be negative. Okay, it means two
Okay.
affirmative answers and one negative answer. All right,
Okay.
so 3 minutes and 30 seconds for we check.
I finished.
Perfect. Let's take a look at that as always so that we can continue working. And here I am. Let's take a look at your examples, please, Leandro. All right, now let's read those examples, please.
Okay. May I please go with my friends? Yes, you can. Where are you going? And two, could you lend me your book? No, I'm sorry, I don't have the book. And three, can I ask you a question? Yes, you can. What question?
There you go. Great. Okay, I think it's working very, very well, right? So just to apply even the punctuation rules that we are working here, remember, uh, everything is great, the questions and everything. Now here, we're going to use a semicolon. Why? Because if you analyze, this is a complete answer, right? I am sorry, subject, verb, complement. So instead of a comma, you're going to use a semicolon. Okay, no, I'm sorry, semicolon, I don't have the book. And here the same, right? Yes, you can. Subject, verb, that's a complete sentence, right? Yes, you can is a complete sentence. So again, it can be a period or semicolon. We're going to use a period this time. What question? All right, and that's again to complement. Everything is working great. Let's keep working to finish this lesson because it's very short so that we can finish the other one as well. But we have something extra, and this is the extra thing. This is only going to be speaking. Do you mind if this is a way to ask for permission using something a little bit more complex? So let's read this slide, please.
Okay, and do you mind if use the expression "do you mind if" to ask for permission? Do you mind if I sit down next to you? Do you mind if I use your eraser for a minute, please?
Sorry, good. Now, I was going to say, you have to use I here, okay? Because you're asking for permission so that you can do something. So let's practice just by speaking. Give me, please, two questions asking for permission, Leandro. Anything that comes to your mind. What do you say?
Okay, do you mind if um if I um I don't know, do you mind if I um buy the food? Buy food
Okay,
for it?
tweet. Okay, yes, it's
Mhm.
okay because this. Do you mind if it's like te molesta si, right? So do you mind
Okay.
if te molesta si, and you can ask for anything that affects another person, right? If that action is going to affect another person, you can ask it, right? So it's correct. One more, please. The last one. Any permission that you can ask that you know that affects a third person.
Okay, and do you mind if I use your computer?
Yes, that's correct. So anything, right? Do you mind if
Mhm.
I open the door, if I close the door, if I open the windows, right? If I make some noise, if I listen to music, right, without headphones or something like that. So there you go. With that, we have one more that is very formal. If you remember, we saw something similar. Would you mind if, so do you mind if it's like te molesta? But would you mind if it's like te molestaría, right? And here, if you remember the rule, you use past, but the permission is present, right? So it's something just grammatical. It says very similar to the last expression, but you need to use the verb in the simple past. Let's read those two examples, please, Leandro.
Okay, would you mind if I sat down next to you? Would you mind if I used your eraser for a minute, please?
There you go, right? Correct. So the same, please, to finish this lesson. Two examples just by speaking. What permissions can you ask with would you mind if? I plus a verb in the simple past. What do you say? Try to use another verb that is not set and that is not used.
Okay. Would you mind if I what is the past of stay? Stayed?
Yes, it's regular,
Oh,
so state.
okay.
Correct.
Stayed. Would you mind if I stayed in your house of this night?
In your house, instead of this night or off, you just say tonight. If I stayed in your
Tonight.
house tonight, correct?
Tonight.
One more,
Mm.
please.
Would you mind if I bought um, um sorry, would you mind if I drove um to the party?
Okay, yes, it's perfect. It's very
Oh.
good. Would you mind if I drove to the party? That's great, right? So any verb in the simple past is going to be correct here. And it feels a little bit more formal, okay, if you say it like this, because it's like a hypothesis, all right? It's like saying, ¿te importaría si yo hiciera esto? Right?
Mhm.
The other one is more direct. This is a little bit more going around, but it's more formal because of that. All right, and with that, we are good. Again, affirmative, not at all. I don't mind. Go ahead, right? And if it's negative, you give a reason, but that's it. Okay, you have links to practice as always. But with that, we're finishing this lesson. Okay, it was a very short one, but that's it. Now, we're going to cover this one. And once again, if you have questions about the previous lesson, you can let me know. All right, at any time, you can ask me the question, raise your hand, or simply you make a comment. Now,
Okay.
let's go to this one. Comparison with the double SS. All right, so I'm not going to ask questions here. I'm just going to tell you that if you use this structure, these two words, you can compare things, objects, people, whatever you take into account. Let's read the definition, please.
Okay. Use the structure as to show equality or inequality between two people, objects, places, animals, or ideas. It's possible to use the comparison with adjectives, adverbs, and nouns.
Good. There you go. Thank you. Now, we have ways to compare. Again, it can be to show equality or inequality. It means if they are similar or they are not similar, right? So let's not read the formula, okay? We're only going to read
Mhm.
the examples, please. Leandro, this one's over here, here, and here. All right, so let's read those examples, please.
Okay. It isn't as big as the old one. It's as good as you can get for the price. Second, it doesn't work as well as we hoped. We finished it as quickly as we could. And third, he doesn't earn as much money as his brother, and there aren't as many people as there were last year.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Now, I'm going to tell you something in Spanish, and just by looking at these formulas and the examples, try to see you can tell how you can tell me that in English, okay? But it's very simple. I know you're going to do it. How do you say this? How do you say again that I don't know, right? Luis es más alto que I don't know, right, Pedro? How do you say that?
Luis as
Or in this case, sorry, I made a mistake because that's going to imply the other comparative. We're not working with that. I'm going to change. It has to be Luis es tan alto como Pedro. That's the real one. Luis es
okay.
tan alto como Pedro.
Okay, Luis as tall as Pedro.
Good. You're just missing the verb to be, right? Luis is as
Luis
tall
is.
as Pedro. Correct.
Luis is
Very good.
as. Okay.
Very good. And how do you say the opposite? How do you say Luis no es tan alto como Pedro?
Luis isn't as tall as Pedro.
There you go, right? Very easy. That's how you use adjectives, right? Very simple. With adjectives, almost always, no, not always, but almost always, you use the verb to be. Okay, so if you have the verb to be, that's going to be adjective. Now, the other one, close to that one, how do you say, okay, how do you say, ella corre tan rápido como tú? How do you say that? Ella corre tan rápido como tú.
She ran
Runs, right? If it's
as
third person, this.
runs as faster as you.
Okay, close. But remember, if you say faster is más rápido, here we don't need faster,
Fast.
only fast. Exactly.
Okay.
Good. She runs as fast as you, right? Very simple. But now let's see how you do it, because this is a little bit different. How do you say that in negative, right? How do you say, ella no corre tan rápido como tú?
She doesn't runs as fast as you.
Good. Only one little mistake. Remember, if you have doesn't, you don't say runs, you only say run.
Run. Okay.
Exactly. She doesn't run as fast as you. Perfect. Okay, one more. The last one, right? How do you say this? Yo tengo, right? Yo tengo tantos libros como el profesor. How do you say that? Yo tengo tantos libros como el profesor.
I have as many books as the teacher.
Correct. Very well. No mistakes. That's perfect. I have as many books, many because it's countable, right? Books. Great. Much with uncountable, right? So how do you say this? One more time. How do you say, yo no tengo tanto tiempo como ella? How do you say that? Yo no tengo tanto tiempo como ella.
I don't have as much time as her.
Correct. Okay, very good. Okay, so you got it. It means you're going to use the words as with adjectives, with adverbs, and with nouns, right? What is an adjective? It describes a noun, right? You are tall. An adverb describes an action, right? You run fast, right? How you run. And nouns are anything you can mention, or names, sorry, like money, people, but they can be countable or uncountable, and you have to be careful with that. Okay, so it is that. The lesson is that, but we are going to practice something a little bit more specific in the time that we have, and we do. So when you want to mention equality, you have to work with affirmative ideas, right? That's very simple to understand. So let's read this slide, please, Dan.
Okay, equality. We can use the as structure in a positive form to show that things are the same. Adjectives. My cooking is as good as yours. The quality of my cooking is the same as yours. Adverbs. I can sing as well as you can. My ability to sing is the same as yours. Quantity. There are as many people here who can speak Chinese as English. And the numbers of people here who can speak Chinese and English are the same.
Perfect, thank you, right? And you can make it very easy. Again, the examples that I gave you, remember? Luis is as tall as Pedro, right? She runs as fast as you. Or the example was, I have as many books as the teacher, right? So those three examples are the same. They are very simple. So try to think of the same, please. Let's go to the document and let's write three examples. One example with adjectives, one with adverbs, and one with quality. Okay, just that, please, Leandro. It means they have to be affirmative. Let's have 3 minutes and 30 seconds to do it. If you finish before, once again, let me know. I don't know if you have any questions before that.
No, I don't have questions.
Okay, let's do it. Please, we check in 3 to 4 minutes.
Okay. Mm. I finished.
Perfect. Let's read, please, what we got. I'm going there, and we are working, I think, at a good pace. So let's read, please, those three ideas, Leandro.
Okay, my way is as good as yours. It doesn't sound as loud as the other one. I have as much time as you.
Thank you very much. Good. I think we're working good. Let's analyze. We're going to see we have adjectives, adverbs, and let's say nouns. Okay, so my way is as good as yours. Perfect. Now here, usually you do this, all right, that. And why? Because some adjectives, all right, some adjectives can be regular or regular, all right? Again, it should be like that, but it's not. Why? Fast, for example, is an irregular adjective that is going to be the same, right? You are fast, adjective. You run fast. It's adverb, right? But you don't change. Some of them change, right? For example, quick, you say you are quick, or you say you run quickly, right, with ly. Now here it doesn't change. Why? Because actually this is going to be interesting. This seems to be let's say an adverb, sorry, but actually here it's working as an adjective. Why? Because the verb sound is considered a linking verb. It means very similar to action and non-action verbs, that in fact this is not an action. It's just a description of something. Okay, so when you say it doesn't sound as loud as the other one, this is in fact an adjective and not an adverb. Okay, but again, we're not going to go in that detail. But in this case, we have two adjectives. Okay, the first one and the second one. Even though we have a verb here, this verb is not working as an action, is working as a connector. Okay, how it sounds. And here it works great as well. I have as much time. This is a, let's say, an hour. Okay, so it's good. Let's go to the next one. We're not going to overcomplicate with adverbs. That's something we're going to see in following a presentation. So that was equality. Now, close to equality is something that is nearly. It means it's almost as similar as something, but it's not. Okay, it means that they are different. But nearly can be for small differences and also for very big differences. All right, so let's read this slide to understand that, please.
Okay, nearly. When we use nearly to modify positive as a sentence, the meaning are different. Small differences nearly. With a positive as a structure, nearly shows a small difference. David is nearly as tall as Michael. Small difference. Michael is only a little taller than David. Compare this with the negative sentence. David isn't nearly as tall as Michael. Big difference. A big difference. Michael is much taller than David.
Great, thank you. Right, so this is interesting because you use the word nearly, but if it's affirmative, the difference is small. If it's negative, the difference is very big, right? Very big. So this is simple. Let's also work an example for this, please, Leandro. Only two examples. One example for small difference, it means the sentence has to be affirmative, and one for a big difference, that means that a sentence has to be negative. All right, let's do it, please. This very short, 2 minutes, and we check, please.
Okay.
All right, and remember, if you have questions, just let me know.
I finished.
Very good. So let's do the same, please. Let's read these examples to go to the next part. Let's read those two examples, please.
Okay, my house is nearly as big as yours or your house. I don't know. And Mario isn't nearly as intelligent as Sergio.
Okay, great. Both are correct. And here it depends, right? Both are correct. If you say my house is nearly as big as yours, or your house is nearly as big as yours, right? Actually, it's better if you say here my, right? To have two different points of comparison, right? So it's great. The first one is a small difference, right? So they are very close in terms of size. And the second one, it's a big difference. It means that one of them is way more intelligent than the other one, right? So great. We're working good so far in Leandro. Now, I don't know why I cannot see my... Okay, I can see it now. Let's go to the next part, that is quiet. Quiet and just, actually, this is not something we're going to practice. It's just something that doesn't have a translation, actually. It just gives emphasis, okay? So if you say, I'm as good as you, is good. But if you say, I'm just as good as you, is when you want to put emphasis on that idea is true, right? But it doesn't add any meaning. It's just emphasis. That's the only thing it's doing. So let's read this just to know about it, please.
Okay, using quite and just for emphasis if we want to emphasize that two things are the same. For example, because the person we are speaking to may not accept what are you saying, what we are saying, we can use quite and just. You are a terrible tennis player. I'm just as good as you. And this phone is quite as good as that one, even if those cost less.
Great. Exactly, right? So again, this is just to know the meaning doesn't change here, it's just emphasis. Now, let's go to inequality. All right, inequality is exactly the same, but the idea is that this is for, of course, showing something that is different from another thing. Okay, so we're not going to read the first part because we already know that. Let's only read the three examples, please, there.
Okay. This one isn't as big as the old one. The old one is bigger than this one. Jenny's new flat isn't as nice as her old one. Jenny's old flat is nicer than her new one. Paris isn't as big as Tokyo. Tokyo is bigger than Paris.
Great, thank you. Now, so this is the last writing practice. Then it's going to be speaking the last ones to finish today. So let's do it, please. Just three examples, this time showing inequality. It means that your examples have to be negative. All right. The only thing is that in this case, try to use different verbs, not the same verbs as the affirmative ones, so that we can add some vocabulary. Okay, just that one in there. Let's do it, please. 3 minutes and 30 seconds or 4 minutes, or if you finish before, and we check this last writing practice.
Can you show me the quiet, please? The quiet and just.
Yes, there you go.
Okay, I don't remember. Okay.
Good. So let's do it, please, and we check. Do you want me to stay here in the quiet in this slide or this one?
And this one.
Okay, good. Okay, we are in the 4th minute. Let's see how it is going, and we're going to check according to that, all right? And again, if you need more time, you're going to let me know. But let's see, please, this one. You have that one. And remember, mainly here, we just needed to write examples in negative, right? Not with just and quite. You have that, and it's good, but mainly negative. So let's finish, please, those negative examples, Eleandro. All
I
right,
think
finish.
3 and 3.
Okay, yes. Actually, we only needed 3, that it was 3 for the inequality. We didn't need examples for just and quite, but you have it and it's great. Okay, so
Okay.
let's finish, please, those examples in negative. Let me know and we read that.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I finished.
Good. Now we're going to read, please, those examples. With that, we're just going to see a couple more details and we finish the lesson. Let's read, please,
Okay.
all those examples there.
Okay. I have just as more food as you. This computer is quite as old as computers at the library. And he has just as hunger as you. This backpack isn't as cool as those. Your dog isn't as cute as my dog. He hasn't hair as large as yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, generally it's pretty good. I have few observations, okay? Very few details. Here, remember, food is actually uncountable. All right, food is going to be considered a quantity. So instead of more, you're going to change that to much.
Much.
All right, much food, exactly. Because the opposite would be not the opposite, actually. For countable would be many, right? But here you need many or much, but for food is going to be much. The second one is great. Here in number 3, remember something. In Spanish we say tener hambre, right? Tener hambre. But in English we say estar hambriento, all right? In English you don't have. The verb have for hungry is incorrect. So here you have to say he is just as hungry,
Hungry.
exactly, as you. All right, but always with the verb to be. Okay, you are hungry translates to tú tienes hambre, but you don't say tener, right? You only say the verb to be. The 4th one is perfect. The 5th one is perfect. And in the last one, remember here you want to say él no tiene, right? That's what you want to say, correct? So this can
Oh,
be valid in a certain situation, but remember, it has to be doesn't
that's
have. Exactly. Okay, why? Because to have is simple present in this case, right? So I have, I don't have. He has, he doesn't have, right? That's going to be the negative. So he doesn't have, uh, his hair could be as large or long as yours. Long is better for hair also. Okay, that long, like largo. All right, so that's it. Those are my only corrections there. Everything else is working very well, Leandro. I don't know if you have questions about those corrections over there.
no, I don't have questions.
Okay, good. Now we work with that one, adverbs, nouns. Also, you already did it. This is the last one that you worked. So this is going to be just speaking. You know, nearly. Nearly means a big difference when it's negative, right?
Mhm.
But you can also use nowhere near to show a big difference, and to show a small difference, or you can use quite in negative. Okay, so let's work only first. Let's read these two examples that are marked, please. There.
Okay. England is nowhere near as big as Russia. Russia is much bigger than England. My flat isn't quite as big as Jenny's. Jenny's flat is a bit slightly bigger than mine.
Good, right? So big difference, small difference. You know how to use big difference with nearly. You already practiced with that. So just speaking, please. Give me one example using nowhere near. What do you say? What example can you give?
Um, okay. Mario is nowhere near tall than as tall as Max.
Okay, yes, that is correct. And it means that in that case, Max
Mhm.
is much taller than Mario, right? So you have to be careful with that one. Sometimes it creates confusion, but the second option is always then much something than the first option if you use nowhere near, right? So perfect.
Okay.
What about the second one with negative and with quiet or
Okay.
quiet?
Um. Okay. My uh, my coach, I don't know, isn't quite um as big as uh the coach in the main room.
Okay, yes, the main room, mainly call that perhaps it's going to be the living room
Living room.
or the living room. That's
Mhm.
better. Good, yes, it's correct. Okay, so nowhere near for big difference, quite for small difference when it's negative. And with that, it's done. You know how to use the rest of it because it's nearly, and here it's one more time quite, but in a different example. And with that, it's done. Okay, these are the two lessons, and with this we are finishing this one. Leandro, remember that you have to finish this unit plus the quiz, and tomorrow we are going to start the second. All right. So I don't know if you have any questions before finishing today.
No, I don't have questions. Thank you.
Okay, no, you're welcome. So you have the daily survey, please. Let's answer to those questions, and that's it for now. Thanks for being here. I hope you have a good night and see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Good night. Thank
Bye
you.
bye. You're
Bye bye.
welcome.